Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I've got Riley Sykart on with me here today. It is Tuesday, November 4th already. We are here today to talk a little bit about South America weather from a national yield perspective. Riley, what do we have in store for us here today?
Some updates on planning progress, and then weather maps are pretty much the normal things that we regularly cover anyway. First thing I do want to mention in terms of planning progress, uh, Argentina is ahead of schedule, nothing concerning there. And then Brazil bean planting within 1% of average, so I'm not seeing anything to be too concerned about there. The one thing worth looking at and paying more attention to is first crop corn in the northern and center west regions of Brazil, places like Mato Grosso, Goiás, running fairly decently below average. And overall average right now is 4% behind. Um, not really concerned yet because infrastructure and the equipment we have in today's world, crop can be put in the ground at a pretty rapid rate. But I'd say definitely worth noting here that it's behind, and I think we need to keep our eye on it, see if that's a trend that continues.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Riley. And as you look at Mato Grosso, it's kind of like they're at 9% versus 20. So your initial reaction is, wow, they're less than half. But if you were to put that onto just say 1,000 acre farm, which I assume down there they're probably running larger than that. But on 1,000 acres, 9% planted, it'd be roughly 90 acres. They should be 200 planted. Yeah, we're like 1 to 3 days maximum of decent work time to get caught up. So nothing too extraordinary yet, but certainly worth keeping an eye on.
Agreed. So with that, we're going to move into areas that we need to be watching. Um, these regions to the north is what we're looking at that potentially running a little bit behind. But for first crop, they're a lot more important on the beans side of things than the corn. So that's the other part of the puzzle we got to think more about is on beans, they were actually at the average pace. So it seems like the focus is more heavily on putting beans in the ground than corn. So that's what we need to be watching. Soybean production here in the center west region, and then down to the south, we're looking more at the corn for first crop. So putting into perspective how big of an area that we just kind of glossed over super quickly is putting Mato Grosso only on a US map, almost the whole Midwest. So we're talking about an area that is about as big as the entire United States when you put all the crop area together. So not something we can talk about in one sentence. So with all that said, starting out here with temperatures over the next 5 days, pretty moderate. Some areas in the hundreds for an average, but that's not abnormal. We've been seeing that a lot. Not really anything new here. With the amount of rainfall they're getting, no stress. When you keep getting rain, the heat doesn't cause that much of an impact. Clint, you've mentioned that plenty of times, not only in the South America, but the US weather too. It takes a combination of drought and heat. You can have all the heat, but if it's going to keep raining, then it's not as a big of a factor as you think it should be.
Yeah, it's difficult to look at a map, see 102, and think you're not having a negative impact on corn and soybean development. But Riley, it might be worth throwing in a departure map every once in a while here to see how far above normal are we really running.
If that's something I can look at adding in. So moving in Argentina on the flip side, very nice.
Deal.
Got to remember most of the crops are in this northern area of Argentina and 70s and 80s. Can't do a whole lot better than that. So 6 to 10 day for Brazil is looking a little bit cooler as well. 80s to high to mid 90s. And that's for where they are in the world, that's about as close to ideal as they can get. So temperatures looking very good for them. Then Argentina, more the same there as well. Looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall here, a lot more color than you're used to seeing on a South America map. that's why the heat's definitely not been much of an issue. Rain has continued falling, and those guys in southern Brazil, luckily, most of them have the crop already in the ground, but they're actually getting to the point where they've had a little bit too much rain. But in terms of a national yield and market impactor, you never really hear people talking about it being too wet, killing the yield. So it's what we just got done seeing this year in the US. So definitely didn't see forecasts on yields lower than what people were hoping for. So, moving in Argentina, very similar. Coastlines have been getting a lot of rain. Um, they're at a point now they could use a little bit of a break from the rain, but they're not flooded out by any means either. So not a concern. 1 to 5 day temperature, or excuse me, rainfall here. More rain in the forecast for everybody. So that's southern Brazil that's been too wet. We'll have to keep an eye on there and see if there is starts to be some talks about flooding going on, but none so far. And then Mato Grosso and Goiás, where we said the corn planting's behind, there is more rain in the forecast, so we'll have to watch that next week and see if that if enough farmers got through the rain and got stuff in the ground, or if they're waiting for stuff to dry out. So Argentina, very similar story as southern Brazil. Any rain at this point, they're not exactly excited about it, but I don't think guys in South America are going to turn down rains when they can get them. So 6 to 10 day, more rain in the forecast for a lot of the growing area. The South starting to miss some of it, which is exactly what they need to do. So um, Argentina, same thing. Right when you say they could start missing rains, they look like they're going to start missing rains. So overall, 1 to 13 day in Brazil, a lot of rain in the forecast. 1 to 13 day in Argentina, a solid amount. Overall, the thing to remember right now is planning is still going on, but there isn't a whole lot of crop stress. So, from a national yield perspective and how we view it in the US as a market changer, definitely not a bullish factor going on right now. So,
Yeah, we're not hearing anything in the headlines or seeing anything in terms of any issues with South America. Um, we've had a pretty decent bean rally, a lot of that due to China-US relations. And, interestingly enough, Riley, you and I hadn't really talked about it, but weather's been so favorable that perhaps some of this rally is a little bit of building in some risk premium for South America to change. Like, grain markets usually get ahead of the mind. And so, we might be inflating a little risk premium just as we do start to enter into more critical phases for planting, and just get some of that risk premium already built in, so that when the whatever the anomaly is that starts to get the traders concerned, it's more of a buy the rumor, sell the fact type of a deal. So that's something that merits some caution that I hadn't really thought about. Is, we are probably starting to enter into the wheelhouse of the gravitational pull of problems in South America, and might be throwing some premium in there just cause. I mean, once everything is so good, well, if it were to change, goes from perfect to less than perfect or a problem. So perhaps that has a little bit to do with the rally here as well.
definitely could. I don't see that as a non-factor. It's as important, especially in soybeans when there's more soybeans being exported by Brazil than here in the US. So it's anytime we're going into a big growing season, there's always some weather premium here in the US. So it makes sense that they do the same thing for South America, as important as they are now.
So appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sidecard, Midwest Market Management. You can check us out at our website, midwestmarketmanagement.com. Also, don't hesitate to get signed up to receive these sent to you via text message if you would like that. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is or is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.